Okay.
I'm Dr. Thompson Akwo, NTUBA, the Chief Editor of Health and Development Magazine, and we are in the city extension building in the office of the Honorable Dr. Stephen Lee, who is a council member in the city of Houston. Can you introduce yourself in a few seconds?
Very nice meeting you. My name is Steve Lee. I'm a family physician in the Houston area. I'm also the City of Houston Council member for District F. Been serving my constituents since 2016.
You have a very special experience. Can you share some of your origin and how you got into this?
Absolutely. So if you've been following me, then you would know that I'm an immigrant to this country. My family and I, we came to Houston in 1975 when I was only a few months away from turning 8 years old. We came here and basically settled in Houston, graduated from high school in Houston, went to college in Houston, and then medical school and residency out of state. I came back to Houston in 2007 to serve my patients in the Houston area. And as a result of that, my practice continued to grow. And as it grows, I realized that I can only help a few numbers of people per day. As a physician, you can only help maximum of 30, 40 patients a day. So you calculate by 5 days working days, in a year you're helping about 10,000 people. So I thought, how can I help more people in the Houston area? So that's when I thought about running for city council member. Now, as you know, as city council member, I am uh, servicing a total of 220,000 people in my district. So with just the stroke of a pen and the right legislatures, I'm actually affecting the lives of 220,000 people in my district. People. So you think about what goes on in City Hall. We have the mayor plus 16 council members. Just between the 17 of us, we control what happens and affect your daily life for 2.3 million people in the city of Houston. That's a lot of lives that we are able to affect in a positive way, whether it's going to be your trash collection, the potholes in the roads, the electricity rate, the water rate, even the flooding issues, that we had recently with Harvey and the two flooding recent after that. So that's the reason why I got into politics, because I wanted to be a legislator making good laws that will affect positively the lives of the people around me.
So, as a physician, you know about the Sustainable Development Goals. The third one has to do with health and well-being, and they're all related to climate, poverty alleviation, food and hunger issues, climate change. Most of the things you just talked about, energy, clean sources of energy. So, what message would you have in terms of the work you have done, your accomplishments, and related to what I just said?
As the UN goal, as you know, is also including a lot of the features that we have throughout the city of Houston, not just from legislative point of Houston, but also all over the U.S. Now, the things that we do here is locally affect local people, but the UN goal is instituted in what President Trump now has put into the opportunity zones. And with these opportunity zones, the government look at investment that will have a positive impact, social impact, into the lives of the people of the zone that they are investing in. And most of these zones are in poverty areas. So the whole purpose of what we do in the city with legislation, and also with what the federal government is doing, is we're trying to work together and have a positive impact in how we can bring changes that's going to bring better education, better food services, better health care, better road care, better socioeconomic levels. All of that is within a community. Now, so in the city of Houston, what we try to do on a local level is we try to identify the areas of poverty that's within an urban setting, within the city, to help bring in those opportunity zones within a city, as well as outside the city. So the local impact that we do as a legislation or legislators in the city of Houston have an overall pull, if I may, pull in getting the state government to identify and call those particular places that we have deemed needed for further economic development, that the state government can step in and say, yes, that is an opportunity zone available as far as investment goes for tax benefit.
You have a very unique background. You are a trained physician with all the successes in family practice in the USA. There are many physicians who may want to come to council and have the impact that you have realized, but they don't know how to go about it. What message, what guidance, what advice do you have for them?
I think it's the urge to be more effective and the urge to help your neighbors and your mankind is that drive that's going to push you into politics. As the problem with physicians, we're very busy. We're trained to help people, but we're so busy in helping people on an individual basis daily that we don't really look at the overall impact of what we can do from a legislative point. And I think we miss out. So when I was a physician and I'm helping my patient on a daily basis, what I realized was that because physicians are not in charge or not involved in legislation, we tend to be pushed aside. So we get impacted by quality measurements from the government. We get impacted by the reimbursement that we get from the government. We get impacted by all the amount of reporting that we have to do and also all the prior authorization that we have to do as physician. So we're stuck with all this bureaucracy before we could even help the patient. And that's because we're so busy in helping the patient that we don't fight back to push all these bureaucracy and make it minimalized. And so what I wanted to do was get into legislation so that we can actually help physician and people like physician who want to help their community and help the patient in their community have a better way and a faster way to get in there and help this patient instead of going through all these different red tapes before you can help the patient. So for me, the message for you physicians who wants to get into legislation, it's very simple. Have the drive, have the heart, and go out and do it.
Who should the mayor appoint in terms of sex, gender, quality to be the next pro tem?
Well, personally, I don't think that the mayor should choose anybody based on sex or based on religion or based on race. I think the mayor should choose somebody who is best for the job as mayor pro tem, who is going to be his confidant, who is going to help him not always say yes to him, because when you have two people saying yes all the time, then one of them is not really needed. You need somebody who is going to counter you. When you give out an idea, well, what's the other person going to say? Somebody's going to look at all the different broad scope. So they definitely need somebody who has a lot of experience with the city, have a lot of experience with the ins and outs of legislation. So, it's going to be a tough job for the mayor to choose the right mayor pro tem, because I find so many well-qualified candidates in this coming term. Now, obviously, the more experienced ones are the ones that are returning. You have like Mayor Dave Martin. He's a returning council member. He has a lot of experience. Cassie Tatum, she also has a lot of experience. So those are the two that stands out the most to me, that will have the necessary experience that may counter what the mayor is thinking. And of the two, I think either one of them will do a very, very well job.
Thank you very much.